it's James. I'm in the Veterans Leisure Studio. Georjann Morriseau from the First Nation. We're continuing our election coverage. Election Day's coming up on the 11th. Georjann, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
You've been a busy chief on Fort William First Nation for the last 2 years.
Yes, I have.
It's election time.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel going in?
Well, I don't think I'd be human if I wasn't nervous. Naturally, I'm nervous, but I feel a level of calmness and confidence. I think, I feel that over the last 2 years we've managed to accomplish quite a bit, and in such a short period of time. I mean, we have 2-year mandates, so it does make it difficult to accomplish everything we want to do. But over the last 2 years, I think we've managed to transform and bring the community into somewhat of a new era of communication and transparency, and I think that's become more of the focus over the last 2 years.
What are some of the projects that you're probably most pleased about having started and watching them now start to come together?
I think one of the biggest projects that is near and dear to my heart is the Elders Center and the residential component. This has been something that has been planned for quite a number of years. So, in the last 2 years, we really took grasp of that mandate, mm-hmm. and, more of the social component to community development, and really put our heads together with a very good team on how we can bring this vision to reality. So after much planning with the elders and looking at the former plans that were in place, we managed to combine them into something feasible for the community and something that our elders can call their own.
Now, one of the things I think a lot of people have commented on is, as a chief, you've also helped build not physical bridges, mm-hmm. but a lot of social bridges with Thunder Bay. Mm-hmm. That's been positive.
Well, again, we're trying to create an image for our community, and we're also trying to step outside of the stigmas of First Nation relations within municipalities and within the general citizenship of Canada. I mean, we're a lot more than just little pockets of reserves all over the country. I mean, we have a very significant role in Canada, and we definitely have a very significant role here in Northwestern Ontario. And we know that in order to be successful and strive for success, we have to work with one another. And we have to look at the land, we have to look at the resources and the economies as being collective, and that they're mm-hmm. both of ours. And how do we come to the table with solutions to bring forward those mandates and those successful tools to create the bigger picture and make sure that it's something that's thriving for everybody. So we've really tried to overcome a lot of those barriers, mm-hmm. and even with race relations, it's that's been a hot topic over the last couple of years. But what we feel is that, and what I feel is that it's very important to educate and raise awareness with the general public and the general population, so that they understand the context of our history and our relationship with Canada, but that they also don't feel excluded, and that they're included in all of this, and that together, if we work together, we learn together, then we will promote something healthy together.
At the end of the day, we're all treaty people.
We are, absolutely we are, and it's important that we acknowledge and recognize that and what each of our roles are.
Some of the areas, and one area that it seems nobody's talked about, mm-hmm. but I think it was a success for the First Nation, is there's no wind turbines going up mm-hmm. on the Nor'westers. And there's nobody really talking about that, but that was probably one of the successes.
It was a very significant success, and and again, that's from a few key minds coming together and looking at our strategy and reminding, and it does go back to being treaty people, and it's understanding the treaty relationship and your treaty jurisdiction. So we took that approach this term with respect to the ongoing battle that we were having, and we reasserted that jurisdiction and that this is our treaty territory. Regardless of the lands that lie there within, it is still within our treaty, and that we are entitled, and it is our right to consultation, accommodation, and now consent. So, none of that was honored or acknowledged, and we ensured that we really pushed on that and that we made that as public as possible, but we also did a lot of work educating our own membership, and that this is your land. This is your land, and this is how we deal with these types of situations. And it was a very unfortunate circumstance in the beginning, but we've now come around full circle to see that it has been quite successful, and that the power that lies within our treaty is there, and all we had to do was really assert it. So it was good, yeah.
There's probably steps similar to that, I would guess, happening with the James Street Bridge.
Absolutely. I mean, with the James Street Bridge, it's a little different, but at the same time, this just goes to show you that a lot of these historical agreements that existed and predate us as a First Nation or as a city shows that we should have been included. Because here we are coming back from 1905, 1906 agreement. We're in 2015 and the First Nation is now standing up saying, well, wait a minute, what's going on here? I mean, these were originally our lands. They were expropriated for that railway use. And, we lost a large portion of our economy as a result of that. And so now we come into 2015, the bridge is burned, and now CN and the city have, because it's their agreement that's been left in the courts, and they're taking to pursue that. But at the end of the day, that's not going to limit what the First Nation does. I mean, we can't put our lives on hold, and we can't put our safety on hold for CN and the city. What we need to do now is, how do we take that problem and create a solution? And what the First Nation has been talking about is now pursuing alternative measures of a new bridge, or some possibility of a new bridge. And I mean, we realize that there's a lot of opportunity and funders and grants that are out there that might lend to the success of that vision. So that's where we're starting, because again, we feel that regardless of what transpires in the courts, it doesn't limit the First Nation from taking action.
Well, the reality is the bridge is from 1905.
Yes.
It was probably due 25 years ago to start planning for a new one.
Absolutely. And I mean, again, we weren't a part of that agreement. And one thing that Fort William did and was very successful in doing was we voluntarily came to the table. And we just ultimately wanted a solution because we are the most impacted community on this, us and Westport. And, we brought money to the table. We brought negotiations to the table. We also tried to mediate through with a solution. We offered, we offered many things, and we really didn't have to. Again, this agreement has nothing to do with us, but we took some sort of ownership when we said, look, you know what? We're affected too, so how can we help? And CN wouldn't cooperate. So, I mean, those things happen, and by all means, they can figure that out in court, and we'll just continue moving along.
Election day's on the 11th.
Yes, it is.
Is there a message you'd like to leave the voters with from Net News Ledger's interview here?
Well, you know what? I think I would really like to see our young people participate. I'd like to see our young people and our women participate and come out and vote. And I mean, it's more than just putting your X on a piece of paper. I mean, when you exercise your right to vote, you're voting for a mandate. You're voting for the future of your community, and you're voting for what you'd like to see done for your community. So make those decisions on an informed basis. Ensure that whoever you are voting for, regardless of who it is, that they will be there to serve the best interests of the entire community, because it impacts all of us. Every time we vote somebody in, it impacts every one of our band members. So, it's being clear of that and understanding the significance behind exercising your right as a member, and looking forward to the future, of Fort William First Nation, because the potential in our community is a lot. Like, we have a lot of potential there, and there's a lot to work with. So, I really hope that our members come out and, vote on Saturday, and I hope that they're looking forward to spending another 2-year term with me. So, by all means, yeah.
Chief Morriseau, Miigwech for coming in.
Miigwech, thank you.
Thank you.
Right.